Hello guys, do you know about Skyfi Labs? Skyfi Labs is one of the greatest platform for engineering students, like to take different types of projects related to the studies. So recently I have taken one project related to the design of gate train with Autodesk Inverter. So basically I thought to learn about Autodesk Inverter. So I thought to take a project related to the Autodesk Inverter, it will be helpful for to know about different types of tools in that. So I have taken this design of gate train with the help of Skyfi Labs. So basically in this project, it will teach you different types of tools in Autodesk Inventor and how to design a gated design. So to design a gate train, we need spore gates and we need shafts and keys to connect with spore gear and shaft. Here, keys will helpful to remove the slippage between shaft and spore gear. And bearings will helpful to rotating motion, and bearing housings, so bearing housings which will hold the entire gear part. So these are the main parts of the gate and design with spore gates. So let's see how to design each part. First, the first main thing here, spore gates. So now let's see how to give dimensions and how to design the spore gate. So in this Autodesk Inverter, we'll get direct projects like no, how to shaft and spore gear and bearings, we build keys, etc. So everything will be here only. So we need to just provide dimensions. It will give the product. So first go to the spore gear. Here we can see the spore gear, worm gear, bevel gear. So select spore gear. Here we need to give a dimensions like how many teeth we need for gear 1 and how many teeth we need for gear 2, and center distance between the two centers, and module 6 mm. So these are the dimensions I have given which will related to my gear train design. Then also you can go to the calculation part. Here like you can give like mathematical calculations here about the spur gates, like power of gear 1 and power of gear 2. It will give torque and number of rotations, etc, etc. So these are the entire things to design a spore gates. Then so now we have done design of spore gear. Then the most important part in our gear train design is shafts. So these are the shaft 1 and shaft 2. So to design the shaft, we need some dimensions related to our gear train and related to the spore gears. So go to the shaft column here. So you can see the how I have given that dimensions to design a shaft. So like that we have to give the dimensions. So it will give you directly the shaft which you required. The same way you have to do for the shaft 2 also. Then the most important thing is bearings. I told you, bearings will helpful to provide a rolling motion for entire our gear. So to design a bearings also, we have to go for the bearing option, and we have to give the diameters, innermost diameter and outermost diameter. We can also call as a minimum diameter and maximum diameter. So directly it will give your bearing what you are required. So we have done spore gates and bearings and the shafts. So then the keys. Keys will helpful you to remove the slippage between shaft and the spore gear. So to design a keys, we have to go to the key option here. Then we have to select some faces where we need put that key. Then we have to give dimensions. So directly it will give that key. And here you can see different types of keys. So we can select the keys material also here. And bearing house. Bearing house is nothing but a rectangular plate, some with trims. So this is the entire thing how to design a gear train with spore gates and bearings and shafts and keys. And now here you can see the assembly parting. Like now when it comes to the spore gates, spore gear 1 and spore gear 2, we have to give like mating with the shaft. And here we need to give 30 mm, and mate 3 is spore gear 2 with another shaft, and here we have give from right side to 25 mm. So these are the angles. When come to the shafts, like I already have given the dimensions when you are generating the shaft. And keys, key 1 and key 2, and bearing 1, bearing 2. So etc. like this. And these are the mate 9 and mate 19 mate 19 which is useful to mate bearing on the bearing house. So these are the entire working part of to design a gate and design. Now you can see now how it will works. So when you rotate the shaft, automatically the spur gates will rotate. So these are the entire thing how to design a gate train with Autodesk Inverter. So I learned a lot of tools which will helpful to design many things. So thank you, Skyfi Labs.